Good afternoon and welcome back to the Health, Wellness and Wellbeing Hour on Chalk Hill Community Radio, the station that keeps you connected. And I'm your host today, Charles Olorunfemi, and this is the show designed to improve health literacy, to address health inequalities, and to promote quality health. And today we want to continue our conversation with author, poet, community advocate, lived experience voice, Mervelee Myers. In part one, we heard about her childhood in Jamaica and some of the experiences that shaped her identity and determination. Mervelee reflected on family responsibilities, motherhood, bereavement, adversity, and the cumulative effects of carrying difficult experience across a lifetime. She also spoke about the importance of education, her professional contribution, and the teacher whose encouragement helped instill in her a refusal to give up. We heard how writing, storytelling, and her Christian faith have helped her preserve her memories, express her experiences, and maintain a sense of identity and purpose. A central message that I believe that emerged from that conversation was that resilience does not mean that a person has not been affected by trauma. Someone can be strong, capable, and outspoken while still experiencing pain, vulnerability, and a need for meaningful care and support. So today we move into the second part of Mervelee's story. We're going to be touching on her contact with mental health services and her experience of assessment, treatment, and communication. Mervelee has serious concerns about how she believes she was understood and treated. So while we listen to her account and her account of her experiences, we're not here to make clinical or legal findings about individuals or organizations involved. Our purpose is to listen and then use the conversation as a conversation to examine wider questions. What happens when someone feels that decisions are being made about them, but not sufficiently including them? What might be missed when their physical health, trauma, culture, living conditions, and personal history are not considered together? And what can services learn about dignity, trust, communication, and culturally responsive care? Mervelee, welcome back to the Health, Wellness, and Wellbeing Hour.
Thank you so much, Charles. My pleasure to be here again.
Good stuff, good stuff, good stuff. So we'll get straight into it, and we're going to be talking about mental health services. What I'd
Yeah.
like you to do for us, please, is take us back to the first significant contact with mental health services that you had, and what was happening in your life at that time.
Well, the first significant contact that I had with mental health services was
Mm,
when I had the second nervous breakdown in a toxic work environment after the death of my mother.
mm,
I was sent on medical suspension, and the doctor who was supposed to be doing the assessment, she immediately advised me to seek counseling to find out why I react the way I do to certain situations. And my employers were supposed to be finding me that support, but they were not proactive. So I took control myself, asked for the details,
mm,
phoned them up, and I was put in contact with the Maudsley Hospital.
mm,
So I had 12 sessions at the Maudsley with a trainee counselor Laura Tinsley, and that report was used for the employment tribunal. But of course, now in the long run, they are making out that they were not aware that I had been in contact with mental health services before. So that's my answer to that one.
Wow. Okay. And so at that particular point, what support do you believe that you needed? What kind of support do you think that you needed at that time?
Because I was diagnosed by the clinician
Mm.
with depression,
Hmm.
and because of my own personal experiences of having being diagnosed with chronic anxiety from 2006, I was expecting to get some support that I was getting throughout my time. I was working with my GP because whenever I had like I needed time for rest and repair, the GP would sign me off work for whatever time that was necessary for me to get the support. None was forthcoming, although I had had the 12 sessions.
Okay. Okay. So what you saying that the GP2 wasn't there to do what they were supposed to do?
No, the GP, my GPs supported me throughout my time
Mm.
because when I moved from Lambeth to Southwark, I had to change GP.
Okay.
So the GP supported me throughout the time. It was the mental health facilitators that were not forthcoming.
Okay. Okay. And at that point, who first expressed concern about your well-being?
Well, it was my employer
Mm.
that actually sent me on medical suspension.
Okay.
And the doctor, Dr. Laura Crawford, actually find me fit to go back to work. And my employers were like saying they did not receive the medical report, yet they were the ones who actually sent me. So
Mm.
they were expecting me not to be past fit to go back to work. And when that happened now, they started playing
Mm.
games.
Mm. So was that as a result of the nervous breakdown that you were off work for that period?
As a result of the nervous breakdown and whatever was happening, I was actually targeted.
Mm.
I transferred from where I used to work. I used to travel up to 2 hours to get to work and come closer to home where I could continue caring for my husband and be part of the employment, doing
Hmm.
what I do best, working with children.
Mm, mm, mm,
So I'd
mm.
actually written, I remember writing a letter to the senior HR saying to her that I was depressed and dying slowly of torture. That's how
Okay.
I felt.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
And,
The
and
diagnosis
I
of depression.
think that was the reason they decided that they're going to send me on medical suspension, hoping the
Mm.
doctor would agree with them that,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, that's my conclusion when they said they did not get the doctor's report.
Mm, mm, mm. Okay, so let's talk about the assessment process. So,
Mhm.
how did the professionals begin the assessment process? And were your rights and the decision that needed to be made, were you considered in that decision making process?
I can say categorically that
Mm.
there were no assessments done pertaining to my rights, considering I have disabilities and there's an
Mm.
Equality Act.
Hmm.
On
Hmm.
reflection, I look back now because in 2009, when
Mm.
I started working with these employers,
Hmm.
I actually done a training understanding statutory assessment procedures.
Right.
And this is what I am using to
Hmm.
say, even when I was actually taken to the wards, the first instance, and sectioned.
Mm-hmm.
There was no assessment done because I read somewhere that there was to be a 28-day period of assessment,
Mm-hmm.
but none was done, and I was immediately given medication, mental health medication.
Yeah.
And at first, I refused to take it, and they found out I wasn't actually taking it, and I was threatened.
Mm-hmm.
I did not want, because of my situation, I did not want to maybe have a relapse from forcibly being given medication, so I actually took it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
On the second occasion now,
Mm-hmm.
and the way I was brought into hospital, this time I decided I did not have any mental health condition to the proportion that they were talking about needing mental health medication. So I refused categorically from
Yeah.
taking it.
Okay.
Again, there was no assessment. It was just for. So basically, they offered me this time the medication, the tablets. I refused from taking the tablets. Then they forced me to take injection. And
Okay.
this was in the most undignified way
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
because I was held down by six burly people
Mm.
and given injection.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, so again, with the your rights, were you informed that you could actually get a second opinion or maybe clarification or independent supports?
They made their decision and they were
Yeah,
not working with me because even when
yeah,
I went into hospital, they still supposed to give me some documents about
hmm,
my rights
yeah,
and
exactly,
where
yeah,
I should go for help and everything. And no, it was like everybody was working against me. So even to this day, I am alone, struggling. I've been
yeah,
even trying to get help to take my case forward.
hmm,
I've
hmm,
written complaints and everything, and they're still finding against me. So they're
yeah,
set
yeah.
on not getting any justice.
Mm. Who are you writing to? Who are you appealing to for the
I've,
support that you
I've,
need?
I've gone to PALS. I've gone to Care Qualities Commission.
Mm.
I've written to Southern Council in terms of my housing situation, and
Yeah.
eh, I've gone to the housing ombudsman in terms of my financial losses, and
Hmm,
I've just
hmm,
been,
hmm.
it's just from one to the other. But
Yeah, I hear
the
you.
ones for the mental health really is PALS.
Hmm, hmm,
Yeah.
hmm, hmm.
They're not responding to any of my complaints.
Yeah, yeah. During all of this period, and the admission, the assessment process, what information would have helped you feel better informed? What information do you think that they should have given you so that you could be better informed to make a decision about your well-being?
Well, I actually went to the the tribunals,
Mm-hmm.
and they were like actually not listening to me again about my needs and listening to the consultant and her team
Mm,
when they didn't know anything about me. Because some of the things that are written in reports has nothing to do with me. It's hearsay and defamation.
mm,
So I don't know where they get some of these things from.
mm,
Yeah.
mm, mm,
So
mm,
I
mm.
know myself. I have my records. As I said, I was the first one who reached out when I was advised to go for counseling to find out why I react certain way to certain
Yeah,
situations. And
yeah,
then coming back from the fact that I done the training, and from I started at college, Lambeth College, I was doing training around special educational needs.
yeah.
And in my last job, I was actually the EYFS coordinator, the Senko. A lot of people don't know who a Senko is.
Mm-hmm.
But to break it down, special educational needs coordinator. So I work with children
Yeah.
with special educational needs, and I go back to last week saying early intervention is key, and that's why we need to join this big debate.
Yes. Yes.
That's happening around, the demise of Professor Arde, and not only that, research is very important.
Mm.
Because I done research with Dr. Maria Hudson, the experience of multiple discrimination.
Mm-hmm.
I was actually interviewed at my home in 2010. That was the year the Equality Act came into law.
Exactly.
And and then I done another 2-year research with King's College London,
Mm.
mental health,
Mm-hmm.
2018. And I'm actually on their YouTube channel, Radar CNS with Dr. Faith Matcham.
Mm.
And,
Mm.
and I was actually, my voice wasn't heard like how I'm talking to her. I was more using the gadgets.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
those things are very important, especially the research.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So going back to this particular situation, during all of this time, so
Mhm.
you were not involved in any of the decisions that were being made about you, about your care, about your support, about your
No,
treatment.
there was no explanation because when I need to explain this so it
Mm.
is understood. I carried on working each time I had a nervous breakdown,
Mm-hmm.
and I asked to work closer to home so I could continue. I could easily have given up and go play care and not think about the workforce out there that needed
Mm-hmm.
my skill. So
Mm-hmm.
after I lost my job, I tried everywhere I could. I'm involved in so many things. I ended up being a carer for my husband.
Mm-hmm.
I had to go on assessment because they pay me, DWP pay me.
Mm-hmm.
And everything was hunky dory. There were no questions asked
Mm-hmm.
about my caring role because, as I said, I made my life transparent because I didn't want anybody accusing me of anything because of what happened previously. And as soon as my husband passed,
Mm.
I was asked, that's 2024, I remember the September, I was asked to go for an assessment, which I did,
Mm-hmm.
accompanied by my son who was here at the time. And then that first assessment, another one, then somebody came to my home to do another one.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had a favorable response from the person who came to do the one at my home.
Okay.
And then I was somebody invited themselves, and I'll call names, Dr. Phil Gregory from Marina House. And then I decided that I'd been carrying a secret that's part of my trauma throughout my life. I've never spoken to anybody.
Mm-hmm.
But because of the way the assessment came about and the way people were responding to me, I thought, no, this was the right time to let go of my trauma
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
shared it with somebody.
Right.
And when I did, he looked at me and asked, "Why did you tell me this?" And I
Mm.
thought, I said, I thought you were the appropriate person, bearing what I've been going through and my situation.
Yeah.
And he turned to me and asked if I'm hearing voices in my head. And then he said to me, I have bipolar. He doesn't believe a word I said.
Mm.
I have bipolar. And then from there, they started now introducing me to medication.
Yeah.
I I when I came to this country, I was on Valium for my shakes. And I weaned myself off after I went to university, realizing that if I continued, I'd become reliant.
Yeah.
So now they were introducing me, so they're introducing me to risperidone. So I said, well, before I can accept taking any form of medication, because I never had any idea I had all these conditions they're talking about, bipolar and all these. I know my depression and chronic anxiety.
Okay.
When I read the information for the risperidone, I said to myself, but this is me, would be me taking one medication and ended up have to take maybe another four
Mm.
for the after effect. So I said, no way. Until you can prove to me that I have these conditions that you're saying that I have,
Yeah, yeah.
and in what way this is going to help, I am not taking it. And then that's when they decided again, because it's their word against mine, and
Mm.
I am the person who it affects. Yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
I was
Mm-hmm.
I was I was indoors one day because what was happening. I was called by a private number, turned out to be Dr. Phil Gregory. And me, I record and keep track of everything. And then one day I was at home and he turned up at my home with the nurse, telling me to turn off my recording. So I chased him out of the house. And he's still at Marina House.
Yeah, yeah,
They're all
yeah,
colluding to undermine my integrity. Imagine being told you grew up all your life, you're not believed, and all of a sudden you decided to share something that you think would help, alleviate the trauma, and that was the
yeah.
way they were reacting.
Reacting. Mm-hmm,
Mm.
mm-hmm, 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 mm-hmm. And your concerns are not limited to mental health, are they? You've also spoken about physical symptoms and wider conditions in which you were living. So what other concerns did you have during this period apart from mental health situation?
Now, I've spent my 12 years of my life seeking justice
Mm-hmm.
for what has happened to me. I have been let down by solicitors, including black solicitors and a female barrister.
Mm.
Yeah. So I've done the employment tribunal, I've gone to small claims court, you name it, I've done it. And in the end, I remember I was a member of the scrutiny panel for the Housing Association.
Okay.
And that's when I remember 2019. And by 2018, my neighbor started cutting the garden. I remember coming from church one day, and my husband was sat at the window,
Mm.
and there was tears in his eyes. And when I went back outside, my neighbor was stood at the window upstairs taking a photograph of the plants
Mm-hmm.
the garden that she had cut down. So
Wow.
I simply said to her, at least you could have left some of the plants for him to sit at the garden, to sit at the window and admire.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And of course, anybody who knows me knows that I don't back down. So I told her my mind did no uncertain terms. Didn't matter that I was just coming from church. I need to express, seeing my husband crying
Yeah.
because
Wow.
for all the hard work that he had put in there.
Mm. Mm.
Yeah. So I remember contacting the housing association and all that had happened, contacting my MP, contacting people to act on my behalf. And it ended in me being taken to court by the housing association, although I'd put in complaints and everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
I remember on the 13th of December,
Mm-hmm.
morning of 13th of December, I heard like knocking at the door, and when I phoned, my husband said I shouldn't go out there and I should call for help. So they could stay on the phone and heard what was happening, and they sent the police
Mm-hmm.
immediately.
Mm.
I didn't go out there, so I didn't know who was there. And when the police came, they came to my place to tell me that whatever happened wasn't malicious. I'd locked my neighbor out of the house because there is a communal door,
Okay.
and none of that happened.
Mm. Mm.
I had to set up the next morning, call the emergency people, and the door wasn't fixed for days, and it just carried on and carried on. And
Yeah.
with everything that happens, I'm trying to wind it up so you understand.
Yeah.
I was the one who got charged for antisocial behavior
Mm-hmm.
because
Mm-hmm.
nobody acted the complaints I put in. And when did this happen? Another case of my brother, 2023. My brother was spend his 60th birthday in intensive care, blood vessel
Mm-mm.
burst in his head.
Mm-mm.
Another one was dying of prostate cancer.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was the July I got the letter, possession letter. And
And, and
it just carried on like that till eventually I got evicted
you got evicted. Okay.
for
Okay.
nothing. That's not my fault.
Yeah. 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 Okay. So that began the housing instability that you experienced, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So now during housing instability, how did things like nutrition, access to your belongings, because your belongings, did you have access to your belongings after your eviction?
That is it. So my husband and I were going to court, and my stepson joined with my neighbor because now money is involved.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just touch on that briefly. So my husband stopped him from coming there. So it was during the eviction period now, going to court, then they said I was evicted. So I had time, I was supposed to get some time to get out.
Mm.
So I actually started packing some of the things because nobody, as I said, nobody was listening to me, although I had the MP and everybody involved.
Yeah.
And throughout the month of May, so May, I'm born in May. The 3rd of May, I lost the last remaining member of my father's family. My granddaughter's birthday was the 5th. And I remember the 5th of May, the last plant in the garden was dug up and a knife was brandished. But when I called the police, if they do come out, they come and accuse me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there was nobody on my side. By this time, the neighbors who in Alma Grove who I was friendly with had turned against me, so they joined forces with Miss Gilchrist.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I remember on my birthday, which was the 19th of May, I'd actually gone to send the money to help bury my auntie. And I spent hours in the police station making a report. And in the end, they sent me a letter that they were trying to get in touch with me. So they were going to close the case.
Yeah.
And if anything, I could get back in touch with them. Yeah. I posted it online. I had so many views. But anyway, the 24th of May, I done volunteering with Cancer Research
Mm-hmm.
UK.
Mm.
because I used to do the walking. Now I'm, getting older. I'm more doing things where I'm more settled and stable. And when I got home from volunteering, I did not have any internet. So I got up the morning and I phoned, and they said they could see that something needs done. So they made an appointment for somebody to come out on the 28th. So
Okay.
I was basically now using my phones. I have phones.
Yeah.
So that was the only access. On the 28th, when the BT engineer came, he went outside and he came back and he said to me, the internet had been cut. So I actually went outside and was talking to him or whatever. When my neighbor stayed upstairs and started talking, said she didn't cut my internet. I never accuse anybody because it's been there from the 24th and I couldn't accuse anybody. I didn't say anybody.
Yeah.
Then she came downstairs. I'm recording. She's recording. The neighbor came from next door and they carried on and carried on. I called the police. The police came. The BT engineer refused to say anything. And all the police did, male and female, because as I said, whenever it's me, nobody does anything.
Yeah.
And whenever
Yeah.
it's them, I
Yeah.
get accused. And
Mm.
because I was evicted again, that makes it worse. But nobody took into consideration the amount of evidence I have some on my YouTube and wherever about the door being kicked and whatever. You know what the
Mm.
police did?
Yeah.
The police said I should go back into my house where I'm safe. I told the police, no, I'm no longer safe if they could do something about the situation. And
Yeah.
they left me. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I have been reporting to P what's happening with the kicking of the door, and
Mm. Mm.
every morning my this is a woman's refuge, but there's a man living there.
Mm-hmm.
What started making my life a living hell. So every morning he was going out at 5 o'clock in the morning. He would kick the door so hard, so even if I was asleep, I couldn't get any sleep. And then when she's leaving in the 7 o'clock, whatever, she done the same thing. So this morning in particular now, I'd had it up to my neck and I challenged her. And there was an altercation.
Yeah.
So I actually pulled her inside my flat.
Mm-hmm.
Her thing was left in there. Her cigarette, her phone even dropped. I didn't take it, it's not mine. But
Mm.
I had her cardigan. She went out and I don't know if she locked me inside or not. But when the police came, I have some recording to say I was calm and talking to the police.
Mm. Mm.
When the police came, they kicked down the door because I couldn't open the door. I even handed the keys to the police because I had had occasion to have to ask somebody to open the door from the outside. And straight they come. By this time, the Miss Gilchrist's partner had come back from work. They'd called him and come back from work. And they were ganging outside and he was shouting and shouting what he was doing to me. And police didn't stop him.
Mm.
Police was focused on me. So they kicked down the door. They came inside. I asked them, I said, could I turn, because I was recording, could I turn my thingy off? They said no, they would turn it off. And accused me of threatening, they have to safeguard themselves. Because I threatened to throw acid
Wow.
on my neighbor.
Mm.
But yet there's a story about acid,
Mhm.
which I told to the police in a recording before. And thank God my YouTube are still out there, despite me losing a lot of things. I can't access it unless certain unless I have a laptop.
Mm.
But they had recorded there. I'd actually told the police about my brother. And this is where, at one time, I would not disclose certain information. Like I said to you, I have a trauma carrying of something I witnessed that I spoke to the psychiatrist,
Yeah,
and I
yeah,
will
yeah.
not disclose again. I leave it where it is.
Mm-hmm.
But my brother, the acid story is I told the police about my brother who actually left Jamaica to go to America when certain things came to light. So
Yeah.
I can say this, he was bisexual.
Mm-hmm.
So he went to America where I think he thought maybe he would have a better quality of life because of
Mm.
what was done to him.
Mm-hmm.
But unfortunately for my brother, his paper were not processed in
Mm.
terms of he didn't get his citizenship or whatever you call it.
Yeah.
He ended up having AIDS.
Mm.
He was deported back to Jamaica. And my brother is one of those, we are a very astute family where money is concerned, whatever.
Mm.
So my
Mm.
brother actually had two life insurance policies.
Mm. Mm.
That's another story.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
when he came back to Jamaica, the people who used to taunt him were at it again.
Mm-hmm.
And he sought help from the relevant authority and nobody done anything. So he made the decision to throw acid.
Wow.
So I actually told the police that when I am provoked, because I know I was being provoked to act a certain way and I was not having it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why my daughter. I told the police my brother threw the acid on the boys and actually went to church to sit down and wait for the police to come. And my brother actually died in prison. He was dying, he
Wow.
knew he was dying.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And my brother actually died in prison age 37 plus years. He died,
Mm-mm.
he died on the 9th of April 1994, 2 years after I came to this country.
Right. Right.
So
Mm.
how
Mm.
they have me down, you can hear them saying, I threatened to throw acid. How could they have gotten the story wrong?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know? So
Mm.
that's why I'm saying people need to listen.
Mm. Mm. Mm.
Yeah.
Mm. Mm.
Before they come to conclusion.
Yeah, yeah, and obviously these are all of the things that lead to misunderstanding because from a number of the things that you've mentioned, there there does seem to be a lot of misunderstanding in the way that you're perceived, as a person, you know.
Mhm.
Yeah. What any other reason that you think that this was so common?
We go back to the reason I write things down.
Mm,
I think I should make that clearer because if I'm talking to you now and I'm saying to you XYZ, and I believe that in order for you to understand me a bit more,
mm,
I could put my pointers in writing.
okay.
And then you, as well as listening to me, you could actually read it for yourself to make
Yeah.
it more clearer. So I do
True.
that. So when
True.
challenges come upon me, I will speak to the people involved over the phone or in person, and then I'd put it in writing. I remember I was actually told by one of the area managers at my workplace that I know nothing and I do not have any authority.
Mm-hmm.
Yet I am the one whose word they use when they want to show evidence of how they deliver good practice.
Oh,
I'm the
really?
one who goes on Sky News. I am
Mm,
the one who is sent to government ministers for consultation with others. But yet, when it comes to the crucial things, I'm not recognized. I'm
mm,
the one whose homemade books are used for teaching and learning tools.
mm.
Yet I cannot put my own work forward.
Yeah,
Everything is taken down, you
yeah,
know?
yeah, yeah,
So I'm
yeah.
I'm I'm seen as that type of person.
Mm, mm.
To be
So,
seen and not heard, and that's
yeah,
not me.
of course, yeah, yeah, obviously. To what extent do you think? To what extent were you asked about your history of trauma and how it might have influenced maybe the way that you responded to services?
That's the thing, you know. Nobody, nobody actually asks me anything.
Yeah.
And if I put arguments forward, as I said, I write, I'll tell them about my depression, I'll tell them about my mother's situation and
Mhm.
my granny's situation and
Yeah.
from when I started having the shakes and being traumatized when I was not believed. Nobody, take my story on board,
Mm, mm,
because even when I went to the first assessment and then they sent somebody to my home to do an assessment, and it was the person listened to me and done the write up.
mhm,
But then when Dr. Phil Gregory came, he didn't believe anything. It was whatever it is they had. Because, yes, I'm hearing voices. I've never heard any voices. And even when I was sectioned in the Mosley first time. And some of the things that they have written, I don't know where they get those from.
mm,
Yeah, I do talk about my thoughts, of course. But then again, I can talk, for example, that they use my photograph in HCT Group Impact Report.
mm,
And then part of the statistic is 1 in 5 of all suicides are associated with unemployment.
mm, mhm, mhm, mhm,
And the first brush I have with the police and London Ambulance Service was one day I was home and the police and ambulance service turned up to section me from a malicious report I wrote on Facebook I was feeling suicidal.
wow.
And it was somebody,
Mhm,
two persons who actually am owed £9,000 because I took the person to the small claims court and I still haven't got my money.
mm,
So because my photograph was across from the statistic, they decided to use that to
yeah,
say I said. I've never said anything like that. I will not say I've never had thoughts of suicide because since that time, I've thought about it
yeah,
and how they used it against me. That day in particular, if I did not have medical report from the ambulance service that came out, from the counseling I did with the mostly, the police would not have left me. They
mm,
would have taken me away. And then the other statistic now that said 600,000 older people in the UK say they leave their home once a week or less did actually turn out to be my husband and I, because
mm,
everybody started kicking me out of here. I was no longer welcome here. Nobody was talking to me,
yeah,
and me and my husband ended up. And now I am in this situation where I am in a single room without any facilities. In the
mm,
winter, because I spend Christmas here,
yeah,
I was so cold. Somebody advised me to buy a heater. And in the summer, It's like somebody pouring water on me. And although I have a
mm,
section 117, nobody is doing anything. And it's a legal document. The Maudsley is responsible for providing services with the local authority.
So
Yes,
who is supporting you with your housing needs?
I
Someone
have a social,
advocating for you, or what's going on in relation to that?
I have a social worker. I have a care coordinator.
Okay,
I'm supposed to be getting specialist housing
okay,
from having a section 117,
okay.
and nothing is being done.
Mm,
So as I said, I'm left to my own disposal,
mm,
raise concerns with Southern Council, raise concerns with this, and then they'll come back, they're doing this and they're not doing nothing.
mm,
Because they have one intention, that I'm gonna give up,
mm.
you know?
Well, what's the impact of all of this on your mental health?
I've reached a stage now that
Yeah.
I spend quality time, as I said, writing, and I try to make videos and stuff to post on my social media.
Mm,
But even there, I'm getting a big fight. Because yesterday I went to my social and a video I had posted from September 2025 has been taken down for breaching community guidelines, and I get a strike. So there's coercive control in what they expect you to put out there, and they want me to do live, and I don't have the facilities to do live because people want to see me.
mm.
I'm getting good rapport from people, but it's the way the people who are in authority and what they do and what they say.
Mm,
So
mm.
I'm not the person who I was maybe up to when my husband died,
Yeah.
but I'm still coping and trying to cope.
How long
But
ago did
it's the loneliness.
how long ago did your husband die?
He 2 years, so he
2 years
died
ago.
the
2 years.
8th of April 2024.
Right. Okay. So looking back, what could professionals have done differently at the earliest stage to prevent your relationship from deteriorating so drastically?
You know what? The profession, I am known to the professionals
Mm-hmm.
because I've worked in partnership with professionals from the time I was going to university. I studied with the Open University. I've actually introduced people to the system, early intervention officer, write
Mm,
references, work in partnership with professionals, actually working with parents, because when they were not, because of my lived experiences and my qualification and training,
mm,
I am actually aware of certain things that would take explanation from professionals. And
mm.
that's why, in the first instance, when I started studying with the Open University, I had to, as part of my studies, I had to inform, my employers and offset, because there were staff working who were not trained to work with children with special educational needs.
Okay.
And we go back to whatever is happening here now. What support is being given
Mm,
to parents with children with special educational needs? This is very crucial. Early
mm,
intervention strategies.
mm,
So
mm,
there was nothing.
mm,
They tried to wipe out all my good deeds
mm.
because I would not conform to accept that I am not knowledgeable. I should not be respected as a professional.
Mm,
So there
mm,
was no support for me. But
But
yet there's documentation there that I've been working in the system. And
and does
although they have destroyed certain things, I have a file here with certain
mm,
documents that's going to prove my argument. I just need right now the fact that I'm in this place and my health is deteriorating and is really getting to me mentally and physically.
yeah, yeah,
So I
yeah.
need them to act like right this minute.
Yeah, yeah. And are you communicating that way, what you just said there, the way you're feeling, the way that place is making you feel, and
Hmm.
your living circumstances? Have you communicated that to the authorities?
I have been.
And they're aware of it.
They are aware.
Okay. Have they let you know? Have they told you what action they'll be taking as a result of that?
The recently the Southern Council said that okay they'll be getting back to me in required amount of time, but
Mm,
usually nothing much is done after they even get back to me.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I have a social
Your
worker.
social worker, exactly. That's what I was going to ask about that. Your social worker, anything that they can do, or is it anything that they are doing?
They're not doing much and their hands are tied. It's
Mm,
whoever is above them. The care coordinator does nothing.
mm,
Yeah, sometimes I reach out, nobody gets back to me, and it's very frustrating
yeah,
because I didn't eat anything properly for I have not eaten properly for only time I eat properly if I go get takeaway or go to my friend for a meal.
yeah,
But
yeah.
a woman who has been cooking from the age of 10 for a whole family and having these conditions that,
Mm,
can impact on my health and well-being. And the
yeah.
fact that I'm feeling pain in my joints, I can't even unscrew a bottle. My limbs are weak
Mm, mm,
and I'm
mm,
losing weight and the whole rigmarole. It's not good.
yeah. What would you say directly to a mental health professional who might be listening to this conversation?
I would say to a mental health practitioner who is listening to this conversation to get to know Mervelee Myers. And
Yeah.
there's enough information out there about Mervelee Myers
Mm-hmm.
that everybody by now should know something about Mervelee Myers. And respect Mervelee Myers for the person who knows more about Mervelee Myers than anyone else.
Mm,
For example, a person who from the home treatment team who came to visit me twice is the one who wrote the report that said I have schizoaffective disorder.
mm-hmm.
And I am questioning, so what about the consultant? And what
Mm,
about those other people I've seen from Marina House?
mm-hmm.
How come it was down to a person who seen me twice? It was left to that person to write such a report. They didn't even spare the time to make sure that my name was spelled correctly.
Mm-mm.
And one thing I have over them, that person or the home treatment team who came and said they were making sure compliance or whatever, I have the evidence here that if they were that good at their job, I wouldn't have the evidence I have here when the time is right to
Yeah.
prove that no, none of this did happen. So the same way the person who saw me twice be left to write the report about my mental health disorder. They now have to come back and do some repairing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I hear
Especially
you.
based on
Mm,
my book
yeah.
and some of the information that's in my book, as I said, other things have been lost. But I have a few videos on my YouTube.
Mm,
I used to do WordPress. I have two WordPress and I have other source.
mm. And again, once again, quickly remind the listeners where they can find a copy of your book.
On Amazon,
Hmm. And the title of
paper
the title
and
of the book.
hardback. Mhm.
Title of the book.
In honor of strong women everywhere.
Mm. In Honor of Strong Women Everywhere by Mervelee Myers, and you can check that out on Amazon. So Mervelee, you're articulate, you're determined, you're persistent, when advocating for yourself. Do you think that these qualities somehow are being misunderstood? Do you think that somehow these qualities are what is making you be seen in negative impacts, in a negative way?
It shouldn't,
It
but
shouldn't. Yeah.
maybe,
Hmm.
maybe. I don't know how the minds of the people who are treating me this way. I don't know their minds, but my for example, if I make a video and it relates to any subject that's trending online, I can find my videos in there. So that must be saying I'm doing something right.
Mm.
Yeah.
Hmm. 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 What happened to your sense of trust? Your sense of trust, your sense of safety and control, when especially when you feel that you're not being heard.
My of trust.
Mm.
Well, the only person I trust right now is my parents, and it's because they're dead.
Mm.
Mhm. Because I trust myself to a certain extent, and that's why when people I say to me that I'm not to swear, and I've promised so many times that I'm gonna stop the swearing.
Mm.
But the only time I can get some people to understand what my argument's about and the frustration I feel
Yeah.
12 years after my mother died. And the fact that I'd put my mother out story out there, diagnosed her with dementia, is when I use my mother tongue and revert to type.
Mm.
And the fact that my even my family have abandoned me
Yeah.
and left me to be in this situation has left me, feeling isolated, excluded, and so they too do not understand me.
Yeah. I hear you. Mm. Mm. What would you say to someone who currently feels unheard or overwhelmed while trying to, particularly while trying to navigate mental health services?
It's daunting.
Mm.
And I have actually heard of people who have actually given up
Mm.
and decided to let them take advantage.
Yeah.
It is good when you have people around you, and it is good to keep on sharing your
Mm.
story
Mm-hmm, 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 mm-hmm.
because I have lost the people around me, including family, friends, and I'll go back to say at one stage, I created a community hub on Facebook where I had 18 pages of Facebook account. So I write on the different topics.
Mm-hmm.
After the death of my husband, that was disabled, that it wasn't authentic.
Mm. Mm.
Keep on keeping on. Because what I did was I went out there and I made my videos. I don't have much choice now because I don't have the equipment. But I made my videos, I keep telling my story and I keep plugging it and I keep plugging it.
Mm.
And since I have this platform on TikTok, as I said, I have to be careful because They're going through my thing with a, a fine needle. So certain narratives you're not allowed to say it, although it's fact. So you have to be very careful. Never give up. Because
Mm,
I've reached out to people who promised to help me and they never did.
mm,
But finally, if I had given up, I wouldn't be here today on my second interview
yeah,
with Charles.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Um,
So
I need to ask you about independent advocacy. So again, finding independent advocates to advocate on your behalf. Has that worked for you at all?
as I said, I've been reaching out, I've been reaching out. I've got solicitors who at the end of the day let me down and
Mm,
it's just me. So if anybody could help me in this respect, I would really appreciate.
yeah,
Even the whole of this week, I've been on online seeing where they're saying medical negligence and whatever,
yeah, 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 yeah.
and nothing is everybody they don't do that. So
Mm, mm,
it's
mm,
like I'm this lonely person in the wilderness crying
yeah.
out, except now for you who have
Citizens Advice Bureau. Have you? Could that be helpful at all?
I've exhausted them in the past. I don't know what now, but
Mm,
for me, it's very important that I get back somewhere where I can call home. I can prepare a meal to help with
absolutely,
my
yeah,
physical health and
yeah,
get
yeah.
my clothes because I'm literally naked.
Mm, 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 mm.
So for those things
Yeah,
to come into place, I need certain amenities to be put back in place.
yeah. I heard you.
Yeah.
I was hearing some news story this morning in the news about the government putting large amounts of money using large amounts of money to tackle homelessness.
Mm-hmm.
Because when we're talking about homelessness, we don't just mean people on the street. We also mean it also includes people in your situation.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're not in a suitable home, you're not in a home that meets your immediate essential needs. So yeah, so I do think that it's a situation that should be taken with extreme importance.
Yeah.
Yeah, so please, yeah, again, independent advocates, somebody we need to help you find who can
I don't know if
advocate,
you
who can
have
speak up on
any.
your behalf. Well,
I don't know
particularly,
if you have anybody out there who could put me out there now that I've done the interview and I don't
yeah,
know.
we'll be looking out for that. We'll look out for someone at least to get in touch
Yeah.
with you and help you speak up on your behalf.
Thank you.
Yes. So, Beverly, before I let you go, what would you most want people to understand about Mervelee Myers?
What would I want people to understand about Mervelee Myers? What did I write down? I want people to understand, yeah,
Mm,
that Mervelee Myers has been in the UK now 34 years, more years than I have spent in my native Jamaica.
mm,
I've made contributions to the early years sector, and then later on, I became an ambassador for the elderly.
mm-hmm,
Yeah. I've been involved in fundraising from the time my brother died, the first one died.
mm,
And I can be found on almost every website. I actually invested in my Fight for Justice campaign where I tell stories. Yeah.
mm-hmm. Okay.
I want people to respect me for who I am.
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah.
And not just to look at me as this person who will not accept that injustices has not been done to me. Yeah.
Mm,
I will say that Mervelee Myers learned from the age of 5 years old that if I fall over, I must pick myself up and carry on. My life is an open book, so I don't know why I am in temporary accommodation in New Cross,
mm,
a place that brings back memories that are not very pleasant. Yeah.
mm,
And also associating me from a photograph that was in the ACT group with suicide.
mm.
The survivor of the New Cross fire ended up taking his life. And what's trending now? Jason Arday's story.
Mm,
We all need to be proactive. I consider myself an expert or authority on subjects from the cradle to the grave because of my lived experiences.
mm,
And if you go into Google or even AI, because AI is summarizing Mervelee Myers, you will see that even nobody is perfect. We come with our faults.
true.
We come with our traumas that needs to be attention paid to.
Mm-hmm.
I could not be wrong if even since this story started with Jason, I am being quoted with my videos. So I must be doing something right. And
Yes.
I must be pulling at the heartstring of the people
Okay.
who matters.
Mm, mm.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Mervelee, for sharing your experience with us across this conversation. Your account raises difficult and important questions. Um, Again, for those of us listening, for those listening, listeners may interpret particular events differently, but there's a wider principle that deserves serious consideration, and that is that healthcare should seek to understand the whole person, not only a diagnosis, not only a clinical record, or a moment of distress, but the whole person, the history of that person.
Mm.
Listening does not mean that every person involved will always agree, you know, but it means communicating clearly, taking concern seriously, explaining decisions, and considering physical and mental health together. And then also enabling people to participate as meaningfully as possible in their own care, because there's what we call the right to active participation. You have a right to be actively involved in the decisions that relate to your care, your supports, your treatments. So it also means recognizing also uh, the trauma, housing, nutrition, financial circumstances, culture, fate, and access to practical support. All of these things influence health and the way services are experienced. We believe that health literacy must work also in both directions, in the sense that people need to help to understand services. People need help to understand services, and you need support, obviously, as in your situation, to understand the services well, and for the services to meet you at your point of needs. Services also need to understand the people who the community serves. So again, I'm just hoping that there can be a better understanding about the situations. We are going to be looking out for some advocates, Mervelee. We're going to look
Thank
out
you.
for to see what we can do to get people speak up on your behalf, so that your voice can be heard in spaces where it needs to be heard. So
Okay.
this has been more than a diagnosis. The fight to be seen and heard with Mervelee Myers on the Health, Wellness and Wellbeing Hour. If anything that we've discussed today has affected you personally, please consider speaking with a healthcare professional or an appropriate independent support or advocacy services. I'm Charles Olorunfemi. Thank you for listening, and please continue to take care of yourself. Continue to take care of one another. And let's also remember that in a world where we can be anything that we want to be, remember to be kind to yourself and to be kind to others. Remain blessed.
Amen. Thank you very much, Charles.
It's a pleasure. Thank you so much, Mervelee, for your honest